Super Mario Galaxy, a game I consider to be the greatest in the Mario franchise. Today we will be taking a look at this masterpiece of a video game and why I consider it to be Nintendo's Magnum Opus. The origins of this game date back to August of the year 2000, when a demonstration by Nintendo titled Super Mario 128 was demonstrated at the Space World convention. Originally thought to be an alpha for a sequel to Mario 64 under the same name, the game turned out to be just a tech demo for the GameCube with, wait for it, 128 Marios, all of which were romping around a circular platform with constantly shifting terrain. One of the primary breakthroughs showcased by this tech demo was sphere walking, a feature that made the multiple Marios able to circumnavigate an object using more than one simulated gravitational field. Fast forward to 2005, shortly after the development of Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Shigeru Miyamoto began brainstorming for the next mainline entry in the Mario franchise. Miyamoto wanted a Mario game that implemented the sphere walking feature from Super Mario 128. What better setting for sphere walking than planets in outer space? And with that, development of Super Mario Galaxy began. The game was released on November 12, 2007 here in the US to critical acclaim. This game was a smash hit among the press, scoring a 97 on Metacritic, making it the 6th highest rated game of all time. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and delve right into Super Mario Galaxy. As a quick disclaimer, my most recent playthrough of this game, which all of the footage in this video is from, was played legally on Dolphin Emulator by ripping a copy of Mario Galaxy that I own onto my computer using a homebrewed Wii with USB Loader GX. I did this so I could upscale the game to 1440p, and also I don't own a capture card for my Wii. The game starts off with the Star Festival, the celebration of the return of a comet that visits the Mushroom Kingdom every 100 years. Mario heads over to Peach's castle to celebrate, Bowser comes along with an army of space boats, Peach's entire castle is uprooted from the ground by a UFO, and Mario is whisked into the deep depths of space, finding himself on a small, lonely planet. Here Mario meets Rosalina and the Lumas, one of which is given to Mario, granting him his spin attack. After a short introductory mission, we are taken to Rosalina's observatory, the hub world of Super Mario Galaxy. This hub world has its pros and cons compared to Peach's Castle in Mario 64 and Delfino Plaza in Mario Sunshine. I would say that the observatory loses out on the exploratory aspect, being much smaller than the hub worlds in the previous two games, but it makes up for that with its uniqueness. For starters, the observatory doesn't really look anything like what you would expect when you think of a gigantic spacecraft hub world in a Mario game. In Mario 64, the hub world is a pretty run-of-the-mill fantasy castle. In Mario Sunshine, the hub world is a fun and vibrant tropical resort. In Super Mario Galaxy, the hub world is this. The best way I can describe it is that it seems that Peach's Castle and Delfino Plaza were designed by taking a regular, real-world idea, such as a castle or island resort, and adapting it to serve as a network to travel from level to level, as well as fit the proper aesthetic for a Mario game, whereas the observatory was designed completely from scratch with no real-world inspiration, to create a bizarre and interesting hub world that looks like nothing you've ever seen before. This could be viewed as a con, but in my opinion, the observatory perfectly encapsulates the absurdity of Super Mario Galaxy. Our means of getting to a majority of the galaxies themselves are through 6 domes scattered across the observatory, each of which contain 4 or 5 observable galaxies that Mario can access via a launch star. Some of these domes correspond to parts of a home, such as a bedroom or kitchen, which ties into Rosalina's backstory, and yep, you heard that correctly, a Mario game with a backstory. As you progress through the game, you will unlock additional chapters in Rosalina's storybook, a book which explains Rosalina's backstory and how the observatory came to be. I'm not going to go over it in this video as it's frankly quite depressing, but it definitely provides some additional context to an already abnormally story-oriented Mario game. The galaxies themselves contain between 1 and 6 levels, the completion of which results in the obtaining of a power star, which grants the observatory power to discover more galaxies. Similar to Mario 64 and Sunshine, after the first few power stars are collected, it's pretty much up to the player to decide which stars from which galaxies they want to collect, allowing them to pick and choose the order they want to complete the levels to progress through the game, which I vastly prefer over the rigid level maps of most 2D Mario games. Unlike the previous 2 3D Mario games, the levels in Mario Galaxy are pretty linear. In Mario 64 and Sunshine, each level is pretty open-ended and exploratory, leaving the player to figure out where to go and what to do. Additionally, many stars can be obtained within a different mission than the one they were meant to be obtained in. The levels in Mario Galaxy are a bit more straightforward, making them much more accessible for new players. While the levels don't feel as exploratory and integrated with each other, Mario Galaxy makes up for this by including different and unique planets to be traversed in each individual mission in a galaxy. That's not to say Mario Galaxy is devoid of any exploratory elements, as many galaxies, such as Honey Hive Galaxy and Freeze Flame Galaxy, do retain the exploratory aspects of Sunshine and 64, to an extent. While I do prefer the more exploratory level design in Mario 64 and Sunshine, and even more so the open world of Super Mario Odyssey, I do vastly prefer the somewhat exploratory, somewhat linear level design of Mario Galaxy over the extreme linearity of Mario 3D World and 3D Land. Moving on to the controls, Super Mario Galaxy controls surprisingly well for a motion control-oriented Mario game. In normal gameplay, the only motion controls are shaking the Wii Remote for Mario's spin attack and using the cursor for collecting and shooting star bits. Both of these controls are pretty responsive, and you can get the hang of them pretty quickly. However, there are some additional motion controls that are a lot more of a hindrance, only used in certain levels, those being the ray surfing levels, rolling ball levels, and bubble levels. However, these take up only about 5% of the total levels in the game, so it isn't too much of an issue. Mario's moveset is pretty similar to those of the previous two Mario games. Triple jump, long jump, backflip, you get the idea. While Mario 64 has punch, kick, and dive moves, and Mario Sunshine has flood, Super Mario Galaxy has the spin attack, which, in my opinion, is the most intuitive of the three. Simply shaking the remote grants Mario the ability to stun or kill enemies, and correct or add a little height to a jump. Super Mario Galaxy contains an array of rather interesting power-ups. Unlike in most 2D Mario games, where power-ups are typically not required and are instead used to grant Mario an additional ability that reduces the difficulty of the game in some form, the power-ups in Super Mario Galaxy serve more as a tool which is in most cases required to progress through the level they are present in, besides, of course, the Invincibility Star, which is self-explanatory. The Fire Flower allows Mario to destroy frozen obstacles and light whatever these things are called to lower gates to progress through certain levels. The Ice Flower, the much cooler flower variant and in my opinion the best power-up, allows Mario to turn any water he walks on into ice which he can skate on. The Spring Mushroom allows Mario to bounce. The Bee Mushroom allows Mario to fly for a short duration, as well as granting him the ability to walk on clouds and flowers and climb honeycomb. The Boo Mushroom is a pretty lame power-up which allows Mario to pass through certain walls, and it's only used in like 2 levels, so overall it pretty much feels like it was made to be something cool to slap on the back of the game packaging. Now, one power-up that should have been utilized more, and surprisingly isn't on the back of the game packaging, is the Red Star. It functions pretty much just like the wing cap from Mario 64, only this time it actually fits the space theme of Mario Galaxy. Unfortunately, it can only be used to cruise around the observatory and a single level where you have to collect floating purple coins around the planet where the game started. I can see how this power-up would be pretty game-breaking if it was implemented in other levels, but its underutilization disappoints me nevertheless. Once the player collects 60 of the 120 power stars, the observatory has enough power to travel to Bowser's stronghold in the center of the universe, and boy is this a good final level. The platforming sections leading up to the Bowser fight truly feel like a test of the player's skills in all of the various platforming elements of the game. After all these platforming sections, we are met with what I consider to be the greatest boss fight of any video game I have ever played, an epic battle versus Bowser spanning 3 whole planets. After landing the final hit on Bowser, the intense concentration of energy from Bowser's failed attempt to create his own galaxy creates a black hole, and the universe literally collapses in on itself, causing all of the Lumas to sacrifice themselves in the process. But then we're met with a cutscene of Rosalina explaining how the universe is on a cycle, but it never repeats itself in quite the same way, and just like that, the universe is reset and Mario, Bowser, and Peach are back in the Mushroom Kingdom. Only they are accompanied by many allies and former enemies Mario has met on his journey, and Mario's planet has fused with some of the other planets Mario has encountered on his journey, and after a moment of contemplation, Rosalina's words click with Mario and he realizes that a new galaxy has been created. Roll credits. Yeah, it's a pretty confusing ending, and I think Nintendo left it largely up to the player to decipher the lore, but man, this story arc makes all the other events in Mario canon seem trivial. As per usual with 3D Mario games, the game isn't truly completed with the defeat of the final boss. After obtaining all 120 stars and completing the exact same final level a second time, the player gets an additional cutscene which shows what I think is context as to what happened on Rosalina's end after the universe reset itself, and more importantly, the player can now play as Luigi, who can jump much higher than Mario at the expense of clumsily sliding around wherever he runs. The player must get all 120 stars again as Luigi this time, unlocking the Grand Finale Galaxy, an enjoyable stroll around Peach's castle, and as this takes place after the universe resetting and the galaxies being fused, Mario gets to speak to all the characters he met on his journey through the universe. Only after this perfect ending and collecting the 121st star has the player truly completed the game. Though one could argue that all of the content after getting 120 stars is Mario's filler, I think that as someone who has 100% completed the game with 121 stars twice, once a few years back and once over the past few months on an emulator, most players would be more than eager to collect all the stars over again as Luigi. Overall, Super Mario Galaxy isn't too difficult, especially when compared to Mario 64 and Sunshine, but in my opinion, it has a very different difficulty curve compared to the previous games. While I can't speak from experience about the difficulty of Mario Sunshine, as I haven't played it yet, Mario 64 has a very linear difficulty curve, as the earlier levels are moderately easy and the later levels are moderately difficult, and as the game progresses, the levels gently increase in difficulty at a mostly constant rate. In Super Mario Galaxy, a majority of the levels are fairly easy, especially in a 60-star run, and it isn't until the last 10 or so levels in a 120-star playthrough that the game becomes exponentially more difficult, rivaling the more difficult stars in Mario 64. While I prefer the difficulty curve of Mario 64, I understand how it was beneficial to leave most of the more difficult stars for players choosing to collect all 120 stars, as usually the types of players who go for 100% completion tend to want more of a challenge, while the more casual players, which, let's be honest, were the majority of the Wii's audience, would be able to enjoy a 60-star romp through Mario Galaxy and beat the final boss without much difficulty. With all that out of the way, here are the 3 main reasons I think Super Mario Galaxy is the greatest game in the Mario franchise. Of all the Mario games I've played, the levels in Super Mario Galaxy are by far the most memorable. There's not a single dull moment when traversing all the incredibly well-designed galaxies Mario Galaxy has to offer. I don't think Nintendo could have picked a better theme than space for pushing the boundaries of innovative and, more importantly, fun level design. The gravity mechanics, which work insanely well given the time at which this game was released, take platforming to a whole new level. The levels in Mario Galaxy are never frustratingly complicated to traverse, but they're never boring and repetitive either. The game's unique level design and gravity mechanics turn what would be a simple and uninteresting task into an enjoyable and engaging platforming experience. As you can see, these galaxies are great from a technical standpoint, but what really makes them shine is their uniqueness, creativity, and the overall epic feeling they give off. Just to name a few highlights of these galaxies. Escaping from the core of Battle Rock Galaxy as it explodes behind you, swinging on the vine and then jumping into the water in Peach Bowl Galaxy, floating from planet to planet in Gusty Garden Galaxy, trekking to the top of the tranquil icy mountain in Freeze Flame Galaxy, climbing up a gigantic toy robot in Toy Time Galaxy, circumnavigating a giant Yoshi head in Space Junk Galaxy. This game truly has it all. As fun and engaging the levels in Super Mario Galaxy are, there's something off. Next time you play the game, take a minute to observe your surroundings. In most levels, you're surrounded by a reoccurring motif, the dark, infinite abyss of empty space. No matter how lively and vibrant the galaxy is, there is always in stark contrast the looming expanse of nothing. In my opinion, this really gives Super Mario Galaxy a predominantly melancholic undertone. One could argue that this interferes with the lighthearted, happy-go-lucky theme the rest of the Mario series has brought us to know and love, but I really think that the dark atmosphere and unusually serious ambiance make Mario Galaxy feel that much more epic. The atmosphere really intensifies the story, making it feel as if the fate of the world is truly in your hands. Simultaneously, Mario Galaxy really hits home the feeling of Mario being alone, a tiny speck in the vast expanse of the universe. In a way, this environment is oddly calming. Instead of constantly nudging the player to move forward, Super Mario Galaxy reminds the player that sometimes it's okay to take things slow and enjoy the journey. As great as the levels and atmosphere are in Super Mario Galaxy, it's the music that sticks with me the most. The soundtrack truly amplifies an already intense Mario game to an even greater extent. Super Mario Galaxy is the first Mario game to have a fully orchestrated soundtrack, and this, in my opinion, is one of the greatest game development decisions Nintendo has ever made. The music not only always fits the scenario, but it sculpts it into something greater. For example, the upbeat and valiant buoy-based Galaxy theme, the soaring piano tones of Space Junk Galaxy, the maximalist theme of Gusty Garden Galaxy, in stark contrast to the serene and quiet tones of Freeze Flame Galaxy, and the insanely intense string stabs of the final phase of the boss fight, followed by the melancholic yet heroic credits theme. Of all the great things in Super Mario Galaxy, it's the music for me that moves the game from an epic Mario experience to a true masterpiece of a video game.